Celtics postgame. I'm Joe Murray here until midnight tonight. Skaz is back, and we're going to be joined by Cerrone Battle as well. Let's line them up. Celtics win. They saved the season. Now they go to New York down 3-2. Let's react about it. 617-779-0985. We have our friends in YouTube right now, and we have them by the hundreds in there right now. So feel free to join the chat. We'll read them, and we'll certainly react to the 127-102 win for the Celtics tonight to keep their season alive. Cerrone, I wonder if Joe Mazzulla listens to the show. I don't want to take a victory lap, but more Pritchard, go away from Cornet, go away from him, Porzingis to go to Cornet, and, just maybe use your bench a little more. And that's what happened tonight for the most part, minus Jason Tatum. You got the Jaylen Brown game. Derek White did his thing, and you got contributions from everybody tonight in the win.
Yeah, I mean, it was a total team effort. This is basically the way they've played basketball all season. It was good balance. Jaylen Brown, I've seen him have games where he scored 40. I think he's had a 50-point game, a few of those. I've seen him score more points and put up more numbers. But he played very in control. He was in control of everything he was doing. He played with good pace. And the most important thing that he did all night was relentlessly attack Jalen Brunson in the third quarter. And that's something that we've been screaming on this show after every single game. If Jalen Brunson's on the court, seek him out. There isn't a player in a Celtic uniform that he can defend 15 feet and down. Not a single one. And in the third quarter, something clicked and they said, you know what? He can't. And they just went at him, and he picks up 5 fouls in like 8 minutes in the third quarter. And that's been there all series. And once they did that, they stole the Knicks' heart. And that was all she wrote. And they just play with great balance, great ball movement, team effort. And when you do that, you're hard to defend. And they were really hard for the Knicks to defend last night. While they also shut the Knicks down in the second half. There was no 70%, 67% shooting in the second half for the Knicks tonight. That wasn't going to happen.
I just thought they played with desperation. They won the third quarter, and they wanted it. No doubt about it. There were adjustments there. First half was back and forth, right? Celtics would go down a little bit. Knicks went on a 13-17 run. But I don't think I can talk about enough about the night that Luke Cornet had. But he got the crowd involved. Mm-hmm. He was a rim protector. He was scoring. He was pick and roll wide open on dunks. He saved balls from going out of bounds, blocked it, and then saved it from going out of bounds. Then ran the court and got the wide open play. I mean, there's games in history. I know, like Kelly Olynyk had a game, right? P.J. Brown hit a big shot in Celtics. It all happens. This is the Luke Cornet game, no doubt about it.
Yeah, it was. But, I haven't listened to everybody else's post game because we've been on. But we've been screaming for Cornet to get more minutes simply because Porzingis is giving you nothing. And I know the analytics and the numbers say, well, when he's on the court, you're this effective or you're that effective. Well, when the human part element kicks in, you have to throw the numbers to the side and say he's just not right now. He's not giving us anything but just being tall. Well, how about you just put a guy in who's just as tall and say, hey, at least he has energy, he can bang, he can rebound. And Cornet made an impact the minute he was inserted into the game. Immediate impact on the defensive end, finishing around the rim. Porzingis missed a couple easy layups. And the next thing you know, Cornet's right there putting back those same layups, rolling to the basket for layups, just constant movement off the screen game, freeing guys up, rebounding, blocking shots. And he completely took away the lane from the Knicks and allowed the Celtics guards to play a little tougher and a little more physical up top. And the only reason the Knicks were in this game early was Josh Hart was having one of those nights. He was hitting his threes. I think he hit 6 threes tonight. He was on one early in the game, and he kind of kept the Knicks in it, even after getting the stitches. But Cornet's impact was felt immediately, and he really set the tone for the way this game went. And shout out to Derek White for getting off to a good start, keeping them neck and neck with the Knicks because they got off to a hot start. but Cornet was the real key to that game in the early on in the first half.
They need help in the front court, and we do have an update on why Kristaps Porzingis did not play late in the game. Missoula reacted to it. We'll have that coming up in a little bit. But I think we kind of got the two biggest things out of the way here. Mm-hmm. They actually defended.
Yeah.
They defended, but they also kind of went at Jaylen Brunson. Mm-hmm. Something that they did during the regular season that I don't know why they went away from it, but it worked tonight. And I wonder if it was because of the desperation mode. I don't know. Man, was it can we give Joe Mazzulla some credit for making
absolutely,
the adjustment?
You have to. Yeah. Back against the wall, you throw everything out the window and say, okay, guys, we just got to, I don't agree with Gilbert Arenas a lot. He be saying some wild stuff.
Yeah.
But one thing he did say, and I completely believe him, if the Celtics would have just played basketball, no analytics, no nothing, they just at YMCA, they're playing pickup like they do in the summertime. If the Celtics would have just played regular basketball, the series would be over already. They've had huge double-digit leads in every single game. The 3 games they lost, they were up 20, 20, and 14. They've had the games they won, they've been up 20 plus. They've had huge leads on this team, and it goes out the window because they kind of stop hooping and go into the analytics. We got to do this. No matter the situation, we have to do this or do that. If they just play basketball, run simple pick and roll, if there's a big run into the basket, throw the lob to him. You see Cornet catch the dunk backwards. They tried it a couple times. It didn't work. But then you saw the bench come in late in the game with Neemias Queta. They throw a couple lobs to him on the pick and roll, and he gets a couple dunks. It's there, and it's been there the whole series, but they got away from basic basketball for too long. And when they do it, the Knicks have nothing for them. And on both ends, they kept it simple. And like you said, when Jaylen Brunson was out there, shout out to the coaching staff and the players for recognizing that he can't defend them. And they went at him, stuck to it, went at him. They still took their 48 threes, 49 threes. That's what they do. But it was off catch and shoot. It was off ball movement. Guys were wide open. A couple guys were so open, they was able to take a breath and take their time. And it was good balance with the threes. You know what I'm saying? It was Jaylen Brown, 5, Horford 3, Porzingis took a couple, Drew Holiday 2 for 3, Sam Hauser got a couple tonight, J.D. Davison got one late, but it was good balance from the 3-point line tonight, and it made a huge difference in how the Knicks were able to, or not able to, defend this team, and they weren't too predictable.
All right, well, get everyone's reaction. Celtics now trail the series 3-2. There was no Jason Tatum, who had surgery. He sent a message to the team before the game. They united tonight. They played desperate. They won a basketball game, and they'll be able to play another now on Friday night. We'll certainly get into that. We'll react from tonight's game as well. People are in our YouTube. Skaz had a take that I somewhat agree with that we'll get into here, Cerrone, on the other side here until midnight tonight. You're listening to 98.5 The Sports Hub.
Don't go anywhere. There's more Joe Murray.
back here on 98.5, the Sports Hub. Celtics win tonight. Cerrone Battles alongside. I'm Joe Murray. Skaz is back as well. Thank you for all joining us here. You got another night to do this. I'm excited about it. I want to pose a question, Cerrone, and the audience at 617-779-0985 in our YouTube chat. Skaz had this take, and now I'm now the one curating the discussion, facilitating. But do you feel better or worse about the Celtics watching the way that they played tonight and the series?
Do I feel better? Oh man, it's a good question. I'm gonna say I feel worse because they actually won and they extended it, but I can clearly see it's like you're more frustrated. Like everything you did tonight was available for you to do in every single game in the series, and you failed. You did it in the first half of every game in the series, but you failed to do it in the second half, and you put yourself in a bad spot. Every advantage you had tonight was available in every single game in the series. Everything you did, defensively, offensively, ball movement. I understand you didn't have Hauser stretching the floor, but last game, Al Horford took 2 shots, I think, the whole game. Holiday wasn't aggressive. Brown wasn't as patient or aggressive as he was in this game tonight. And it showed, on both ends. They weren't locked in defensively. There was things they did tonight that was there. There was nothing there that you were like, man, I've never seen that before. We've seen Cornet have stretches like this during the regular season. We've seen Pritchard, Hauser. We've seen Derek White go for 40 before. We've seen all these things happen, and we've seen it all happen against the Knicks in the 4 games this season, and we've seen it happen in the first half of every single game this series. So, I get the question. I'm more frustrated that they put themselves in this position because their refusal to play Celtic basketball against this Knicks team all series, and now their backs are against the wall.
Well, Skaz, would you like to give the take? Because we're watching the game together, and I'm like, man, they're going to Cornet, like I said. And well, they're doing that. Wow, can you actually believe they're making Jaylen Brown play defense? Or and then Skaz just pops out. What were you saying all night, Skaz?
It just makes you more frustrated about games 1 and 2. I think is kind of what it comes back to, is that this was, going into the series, it was Celtics in 4, Celtics in 5, maybe. And, seeing a game like tonight without Tatum, it should, anger you. I don't know, frustrate you as a fan. Like, I think this is still a winnable series. I know some people have been saying that today in jest, but I do think it is a winnable series. And yeah, you should be frustrated about games 1 and 2. They blew it. Took them too long to make some of these adjustments, to go to Pritchard, to go to Cornet, to get away from Porzingis, stop forcing him out there. I think Cerrone's been on it since before the series even started, that attacking Brunson is kind of the way to go. And, I did like that, let Josh Hart shoot. I know that strategy hasn't really been working, especially tonight for a stretch, but there are guys on the Knicks that you can let shoot, and occasionally Mitchell Robinson, 6 for 6 from the free throw line, they're going to hit a couple, but the recipe to beat this Knicks team is there, and the Celtics do still have the talent to do it.
I'll just give you my feelings real quick on it. I almost feel better because they were the best road team in the NBA this year.
Yeah,
they're now 10-2 without Jason Tatum.
Mm-hmm.
They can win games without Jason Tatum.
They can absolutely beat this Knicks team.
There you go. So in a way, I feel better, but I am also upset and frustrated because if they did this in a third quarter of game 2 or somewhere else, they'd be winning this series.
Yeah, 1 and 2, just 1 and 2. You expect the Knicks to win them a game at home. If you just played like this for a 5-minute stretch, that's all you needed. You didn't remember they lost those games by a bucket. Just play like this for a 5-minute stretch in games 1 and 2. Completely different series. We're talking about the Pacers and that matchup and how they match up with them without Tatum. That'd be the conversation right now. But now because you put your backs against the wall, you have to fight. Now I would say the Knicks on the road in the Garden, the Boston Garden, not the New York, not Madison Square, Boston Garden. The Knicks shot 40 free throws tonight and got destroyed. They got to the line 40 times. Mitchell Robinson led the way 6 for 6, but they got to Karl Anthony Towns got 9 free throws. Hart got to the line 6 times. OG got to the line 4 times. They got to the foul line. Jalen Brunson got 9. They got to the foul line 40 times on the road and still got cooked. You are better than this team. OG came back down to earth. The defense on him was spectacular. Shout out to Hauser, because they tried to attack him with Hauser every time Hauser got on the floor, and it just didn't work out for him. I think he hit that one step back 3, and that was the only shot he hit all night. Shout out to Hauser and his defense. You can see him wincing with the ankle and all that stuff. But I thought the Celtics played a good game. They played controlled basketball. They moved the basketball. They had good balance. I mean, you can't ask for anything else. And I tell you one thing that they did too that they didn't do all series. And I had to look around to see if I was the only one that saw it. They double-teamed Jaylen Brunson in the second half. They were sending a double at him. He was pump faking. He was frustrated. He hit a couple shots here.
He was like a fish. He was flopping around out there.
He started flopping. You're absolutely right, Joe. The minute they started double teaming him, all of a sudden he hit the floor on every shot attempt when they started double teaming him and started looking for refs. And by that point, he was done. And they did it to Bridges a couple times. All of a sudden, Bridges is 4 for 14. Brunson 7 for 17. They didn't have it going. Again, if it wasn't for Josh Hart, this might have been one of the Knicks' worst playoff losses in their history. He kept them in this game early and is the only one that had anything going. Karl Anthony Towns, when they put the double big, even when Porzingis was out there, Porzingis and Horford, or Cornet and Horford, Towns had nothing. He had nothing for you. All he did was complain and draw fouls. All those things are available for you when you go back to New York for Game 6. Double big lineup, attack Brunson, double team Brunson, make somebody else beat you, and play it from there. You have a better team than they do, even without Jason Tatum. And I think they know it. They know it. And shout out to Grandy and Max. They hit the nail on the head. If you keep this thing close, all of a sudden the pressure in Madison Square Garden with those fans is going to be immense. It's going to be crazy if you just keep this thing close for 3 quarters on Friday night.
I got the betting line for Game 6. Very interesting, because the betting line tonight was -5 Celtics, and they rolled. So they also got Tony Brothers tonight, which I think was a little bit of both ways when it came to the officiating.
Yeah, he's not pretty good when it comes to Celtics.
I don't think it helped anybody tonight, though. All right, let's get to some calls here, and we'll continue the call. I do want to get something on philosophy on the other side, too, but Stanley is in Taunton. What's up, Stanley?
Hey, how you doing?
Hey,
Joe. So I can share the same sentiments as you. I don't understand why the Celtics in the last 4 games have not attacked the basket, especially when Karl Anthony Towns and Brunson have been in foul trouble. So, I'm just kind of confused how they did it today.
Well, I think it's more about attacking Brunson offensively. So if you want to pair that with driving to the hoop, then fine. But they used to always go at Brunson. Like, I can give you, I think I looked it up. I think they had 132 times where they dodged or like attacked Brunson this year, even defensively, and then on offense they challenged him multiple times. Karl Anthony Towns was one of the worst pick and roll defenders against the Celtics this year, and they haven't done any of it. Tonight they did. And I just want to say they won in a few areas too. They out rebounded them tonight. And they had more assists. And generally when they win those those are trenches, right? Those are the difference makers. Those are the Tommy points. And they won those areas tonight. But I think realistically the adjustment to attack Brunson, I think, was really what really benefited in the win.
Yeah, it threw them off. They attacked Brunson, and now you have to change your whole defensive philosophy, because now you have to help him, especially once he picked up his 4th and 5th foul. You have to help him. So now that man comes over to rotate. Jaylen Brown's up with 12 assists because he's posting guys up, and the double has to come. And Brown, being patient, was just finding shooters wide open because of the double team. Third quarter, the game tonight, perfect balance. Celtics were 8 for 18. They made 8 shots, 4 3-pointers, 4 at the rim. Balance. The Knicks in the third quarter tonight, 0 points in the paint. They scored. They made 4 shots. They were 4 for 20 in the third quarter. Not a single bucket in the paint. Complete difference from last game where they had all their buckets were in the paint or free throw line, and then that's credit to Cornet taking everything away and making them hesitate. but the Celtics just were balanced. That third quarter, where they went 35-17 or whatever it was balanced. 4 shots in the paint, 4 made in the paint, 4 made on the three-point line. Just a perfect quarter by the Celtics with great balance, great patience, and they got to the foul line and just completely just owned the Knicks. If that think about it, the Celtics missed a ton of free throws too tonight that could have put the game away early, and they still won this game by 25 points. So they played a close to a flawless game as you can play in the playoffs.
Yeah, in full transparency, we're instantly reacting to the game. So good on you on the points in the paint, because those are the things. We took calls after losing the other night, and it's the threes, and it's this and that. I thought it was the rotations and no defense. Tonight they had better rotations and played much better defense, and that falls on the coach. And we'll get into Jaylen Brown too, because he had a spectacular night. Let's talk to Matt. He's in New Hampshire. What's up, Matt?
Hey, Joe. Yeah, it was a historic night for JB. My buddy's a researcher at ESPN, and he sent me this stat that there were 3 Celtics before tonight who had 25 points, 10 assists, 5 rebounds when facing elimination in the playoffs. It's Kuzi, Havlicek, Bird, and now Brown.
Wow. Yeah. Also,
great game.
By the way, the numbers he put up tonight, he's never done. He put out, Grandy had this. He had overall he had 26 points, 8 rebounds, 12 assists, 1 steal, and the biggest number of all, only 2 turnovers.
Yep. That was it. And you know why? Because he didn't over-dribble. He didn't over-dribble the ball. He got in this position, catch and shoot. He scanned the floor, see who was open. Then he made his move to the basket. Or he took the mid-range shot. He took what they gave him. He wasn't over-dribbling, wasn't pounding the air off the ball. He was doing his thing, and he took what they gave him. Shout out to him. I mean, he wasn't playing handsy defense where he put himself in foul trouble like he did last time. Wasn't a lot of reaching. He was moving his feet. And, he's been dealing with the knee since before the playoffs even started. And you saw it come back to bite him a couple times. He tried to get a dunk in the lane, and it looked like he came out real short, and OG knocked it out. But you can see he didn't have the explosive, but he played with pace. He played with patience, and you saw the results tonight. And good for Brown. I think he played, like I said, one of the better playoff games we've seen for him with a complete game.
Yeah.
And I mean, look, he only took 17 shots. We thought he was going to come out, be aggressive, 25, 30 shot attempts. He only took 17 shots. Great balance. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 with threes. That's it. Good balance. Good game by Jaylen Brown. That's what you need from him. And they don't have to do anything different than they did tonight. Just repeat it over again and put the pressure on the Knicks to make the adjustments and make the plays.
This was a great Jaylen Brown game. Like in history, we'll think back on it. This was a great game. And I'm only being critical when I say this because they don't win tonight without him. He had to do more tonight. He had the 12 assists, 8 rebounds. Like that's not a quality of his. I want him to get into the basket. I want him to have shots in the paint. One of his shots around the foul line is one of the best in the league. Like, I want him doing those things because he's great at it. But tonight, just facilitating, being active around the boards, following up on shots, like that Jaylen Brown, that's not. Last year, we saw a guy that hit a huge level, right? Hit the highest peak of his career and was MVP of the finals. If he can be that guy and a little bit of what we saw tonight, this is the Jaylen Brown that you can see when he is somewhat of the focal point. This is not a Jason Tatum conversation. I just want to get that out of the way right now.
No, because when Tatum went down, he was having one of the great Celtic playoff games we've ever seen. So it's you saw the $300 million man tonight.
Yeah, I just want him to, if you can play like this, meaning share the ball, do a little more on the boards, right? Don't dribble the ball as much as you do. Try to do things in the other areas. Holy smokes. Like him and Tatum, I know I think of them as a duo. I don't want them to break up. But there are things that we've seen Tatum learn over time where he's doing everything, right? Rebounding, assisting, you name it.
Yeah.
Can you get Jaylen Brown to play like this tonight? Because this was although he was the star, this was a team effort.
Yeah. It was. And he had no problem not even taking the back seat. Well, they took the same amount of shots. He had no problem deferring to Derek White when he had it going. When White had it going, he was seeking him out. And I talked about this before with the Celtics. I think the biggest thing that a lot of teams can learn from the tandem of Brown and Tatum is when they have teammates that got it going, those two guys will sacrifice theirs to seek those guys out. And Jaylen Brown did it again tonight. Pritchard had it going at the stretches. Derek White had it going. Excuse me. He was looking for those guys. He was looking for the shooters on his outside. He wasn't saying the pressure's on me. Everybody's saying I can't do it. I can't do it. Let me just force this up. He played with pace. He took what the Knicks gave him. He did his homework, played great basketball, took care of the basketball, and he played spectacular defense on the other end, putting the pressure on Brunson. He even got one thing I'm glad I saw in the series. He got into it with one of the Knicks.
Right off the bat? Right, the half, right?
Yeah.
He took a shot. He took a shot earlier. They didn't call it.
Yep.
And I give Missoula credit because he didn't challenge it. He should have. But he challenged a Derek White one later on, when New York was on a run.
Yep.
And he challenged it. They got the free throws, and they kind of got back. It was a great challenge by Missoula. Again, I want to give Missoula flowers. He adjusted, but that was a moment that New York, I think, was going on a little bit of a run, but it was a great challenge, and it worked, and White hit both his free throws.
Yeah, the game got physical for a minute, but the Celtics pushed back. Hart pushing Brown, and Brown pushing, he pushed him back. Like, you ain't gonna just push me around. They got into it. Celtics made a couple plays, and then Jaylen Brown, he was fouled by Brunson on the play. He makes the steal where he dives toward the Celtic bench and he saves us from going out. They help him back up. He comes down and gets the ball and gets fouled going to the basket. He just played with energy, with pace. He set the tone. He didn't have to beat his chest. The crowd was feeding off him. And I think he did all the little things tonight. And you can see the Knicks were kind of spooked by it. They were kind of shook by the Celtics standing their ground. Cornet being physical, Al Horford being physical.
They knew the Celtics weren't going to lay down.
Yeah,
and you know what? They had every reason to. I hate to say that, but like,
they did. You're right.
The fans weren't there early on, and I heard that Star Road Drive there was something going on. Maybe
a truck got wedged under the bridge.
Yeah, so it was empty. It was it almost seemed like people gave up tickets.
Yep.
But people were into it after that one. I mean, that was right out of the gate of the half.
Yeah.
They ended the half. They needed to play well in the third quarter, and I think that was almost the message. Like, no, we're not going home. Like, you still have to go through us.
You got to beat us.
And they
got to knock us out.
They dominated the third quarter, and there were times where, again, New York would go on runs, but they won the third quarter 32-17, and that was the starter there from Jaylen Brown.
Yeah, and think about it. The Knicks made 4 shots that quarter. They were 4 for 20. If it wasn't for the cheap free throws that they were picking up in that third quarter, Brunson got some, Hart got some. That backcourt, that's the floppingest backcourt in the NBA. They flopped the whole way through the third because they can see the run coming, and they had no answers but to just flop. When they called that foul on Horford, where Brunson tripped over his foot, I'm like, what are we doing here? They just kept bailing him out. There was a play where Cornet blocked Josh Hart's shot, his jumper, and then Hart snapped his head back like he got hit by Cornet. It was like, dude, he wasn't nowhere near you. But they were begging for those. They were begging for fouls. Karl Anthony Towns was begging for fouls. And when you start relying on the refs like that, that means you have no other answers. And I want to see what kind of answers the Knicks have come Friday night, when now everybody expected the Celtics to lose this series because Tatum went down. It was 3-1. Let's see what happens when that New York crowd is not paying attention to the Celtics. They're paying attention to you. Let's see if guys get nervous and they get all hands sweated up by tip off on Friday night. I want to see how they respond on this game when this game opening on first quarter Friday.
All right. We'll leave it there, everybody. We got more to go. We're here till midnight tonight. I see people on the phone lines. We'll get to you. And I wanted to get on the philosophy. In game 6s, they've been pretty interesting here in this round. Last couple of years, even in the Eastern Conference Finals. We'll get into the game 6 as well. We'll get to the headline here. I'm Joe Murray.
Essential Sports Hub headline presented by Celsius Energy Drinks.
All right, Celtics force a game 6 with a 127-102 win tonight. Jaylen Brown, 26 points, 8 rebounds, 12 assists, had a
He couldn't breathe, and so he was available if absolutely necessary, and so that was just a decision between me and him. He was having just difficulties breathing, but he wanted to be out there, and if we absolutely needed him, we would have been able to go to him and rely on him. But you've seen a lot of that this year. Changing the lineup at halftime is something that we've done a lot, this year, because it just adds a different dimension and can change sub patterns throughout the game. So it's a credit to the guys just buying into what gives us the best chance to win each and every night. And I know KP will be ready for us.
All right, that was head coach Joe Mazzulla on Kristaps Porzingis not playing in the second half tonight. So what do you do here, Cerrone? He couldn't run. Now I'll say this: he wasn't on the injury report for Game 4, and the people said that he was actually in pretty good spirits tonight before the game. So I will never play doctor or talk about something someone might have. I am not going there. But if you can't breathe, you can't play. So I think he's hurting them. And I think what's best for the team is maybe to dress him, but don't play him.
Yeah. I mean, and I'm not starting him. I'm putting him out there only if guys are in foul trouble and you have no other options at bigs. I'm not putting him out there in certain situations. I'm treating him like the way he treated Cornet the first 4 games of the series. He's going to play limited minutes because guys need breaks. He needs – just dying laughing. He's like my mom's with some ginger ale and crackers and some chicken soup, some Vicks. He doesn't need an NBA trainer. He needs to eat some home cooking and to be somewhere rested in a bed or something like that, but so he can snap out of this. But I mean, it's unfortunate. We always say one thing with Porzingis is the injuries. We never know what kind of injury it's going to be, and he's been dealing with this one for a while. And it's something rare or different, something you don't really see from athletes. But hopefully he comes out of it. If he does, if he gets back to being normal, Porzingis is a series, the Celtics can win every single one of these games against the Knicks. But as far as Friday night, I'm not putting him out there unless he shows you something in shoot around. He's out there hitting jumpers and he's beating guys down court and sprinting drills or whatever it is. If he's showing you that, then you play him. If you don't even put yourself in a hole out there unless he's out there banging with a Mitchell Robinson or something like that, someone who's not going to try and go at him offensively. But as far as the, getting buckets from him and all the other stuff, he just doesn't have it.
Yeah.
And it's unfortunate. But Cornet, I think, earned the right to get himself 25, 30 minutes for the rest of this series.
Hey, listen, I don't expect Cornet to – again, I just saw this. I couldn't believe it. You know what, Luke Cornet, he always wants the Tommy Award. He listen, there's one thing about this show, Cerrone, we have said that Cornet belongs in the rotation just because he's a glue guy. They love this guy.
Yeah, he knows what he's doing.
He's not one of your typical stiffs, right, from over the years that they just ride along, Scott Pollard type. You know what I mean? And not no shade to Scott Pollard. But, he can play. He's a 7-footer. This guy was an NBA player. Played for the Celtics, spent a whole year in the minors, played literally in the G League. Was it the G League at the time? Whatever it was. Played a whole year.
D-League.
The D-League. He played the whole entire season on a crap contract, right? I mean, to learn how to become a center because he was really a big who could shoot. That's what he was.
Yep.
He learned how to rebound. He got back to pick and roll defenses. He can test shots. I know we all laugh about it, right? He does everything right. Yep. Everything. Is he a reserve big? Yes, that's what he is. But in his reserve role tonight, he's the first player in NBA playoff history with 10 points, 9 rebounds, 7 blocks, shooting 100% from the field. The first one in history. Nobody's ever done it. But if you want to talk about a guy, if someone's going to do it, it's him because he does everything right.
Yeah, he does. And he plays so fundamental. He sets a screen. He moves. He rolls to the basket with his hands high. He gets offensive rebound. He catches high, finishes high. He knows when to dunk. He knows when to lay it in. He knows how to contest shots. He runs the floor as fast as any big in the league. No doubt. He sprints the floor, and it makes the defense suck in, and that's how they get those corner threes on breaks. It's because of his action. He runs in the middle of the floor. He plays fundamental old school basketball. And you're spot on. When he was in college, the dude was a three-point shooter. Mm-hmm. He don't even try. He'd be wide open like, nope, we're going to run the offense. I'm not here to shoot threes. I'm here to set screens, roll to the basket, catch high, finish high. That's all I'm here to do. I'm a good passer in the lane. He always makes the right decision. He never puts the ball on the floor and dribbles. He makes the right choices. And he can make his free throws when he gets to the line. And, yeah, 7 blocks. You're not going to get 7 blocks out of him again in 25 minutes. But you absolutely can get the 5 for 5 and 9 rebounds. That's what he does.
He was doing it already.
He's been doing that. He can do that. And that's what you have. I looked it up after the last game. Al Horford and Porzingis over the first 4 games of the series. They averaged 12 points and 10 rebounds and shooting 30%. That's Horford and Porzingis combined. Luke Cornet in 30 minutes. If he can give you 30 minutes, he can give you close to that production in 30 minutes. That's been the difference in this series. Horford and Porzingis have given you nothing in this series. Al Horford might have had his best game of the series tonight. He was 5 out of 7, took 2 for 3 from threes. Last game, he only took 2 shots total. Mm-hmm. He was out there banging and doing the extra. Al wasn't ready to call it quits either. But the Celtics bigs showed up tonight on both ends. They did their thing. But that front court is the key to the series. If Horford and Porzingis, Cornet included, if they just had their season averages, this series would have been over already, and we'd be talking about the Indiana Pacers.
There are guys in this league that I'll give credit to for maybe being a post player and turning into a shooter. Grant Williams is one, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah. Guy that was a post player that created a shot, right? PJ Tucker has been in the league for years. Still going, even though he's kind of trash now. But the fact is that, and Skaz just put this in our chat, but Cornet came into the league as a three-point shooter, as we mentioned, failed with New York because they needed a big man, right? Now he comes to the Celtics and doesn't shoot any threes.
Yep.
Yet everybody shoots threes. He can knock them down, but he knows where his bread is buttered. And I'm telling you, man, I was saying this to Skaz. He's a free. I wonder if he got himself a payday tonight.
Oh, he might have.
Because Olynyk did. Remember he had in the Olynyk game?
Yeah. Yeah, he did. And look at where all these conversations about who's going to be gone in the offseason, then they're looking at him like, well, we got ourselves a 7-footer over here that kind of knows what he's doing. Not saying he's going to be the next Porzingis, Al Horford, but we have one on a roster here. We can pay him. We don't have to pay him $200 million, but we can pay him to keep him around because we know he's a good glue guy for us.
So, the Lakers would kill for Luke Cornet.
I absolutely would.
The Lakers would literally give him the mid-level exception.
Yeah, they pay him. They need guys like that.
And I don't want to overrate what Luke Cornet is. Mm-hmm. He's a third big. He's a rotational big that does everything right.
Yep.
And now there are games this year where he struggled against Houston. Remember they threw him out there at times. They struggled in that game, but I blame Mazzulla because he wanted him out there and told him to do something different. For the most part, if they can get another night like this out of Cornet, and they still need Al and Drew and all these guys to do what they do too. But, I don't know, man. If they continue to play defense the way they do and get the production from him, this is all they needed from Porzingis, and they can't get it.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, all they needed from Porzingis was a 10-point game with 9 rebounds. That's all they needed from him, and this series has been over already. But, again, this is 5 games in a row. This team has had a lead of, 14, 15 or more. 5 games in a row. I don't see that changing for Game 6. The difference is, can they hold on to it? Can they play a good second half? What will the Knicks do in the second half when the pressure's on? Should the Knicks try and get out to a big lead early and try and play with a lead for the first time in this series? Those are the challenges you're going to have to face going in the next game. But the Celtics have shown we can get out to leads here. It's all about sustaining because we figured you out. We know your weaknesses, some things you can't hide. Mitchell Robinson, as good as he is, he made his free throws. We know he's a rebounder, but he's so limited offensively, you know he's not going to do much for you. OG, you know what he is. He's going to shoot the corner 3 from time to time. He's real athletic, likes to get out on the break. You know that. But Brunson and Hart, they're undersized. They're too small to defend these guys. They reach, they play with their hands. You can attack them. Karl Anthony Towns isn't going to get any tougher over the next 2 days. Mm-hmm. He is what he is when it comes to mental toughness. And that's been his issue even in Minnesota, going all the way back when Jimmy Butler was in Minnesota and called him soft. This is who he is. They're not going to change. You know, everybody knows each other at this point. You know you can get up on this team. It's all about what are you going to do? Are you willing to make the sacrifices to maintain that lead and hold on to it, to push to Game 7?
All right, we got another hour to go here on the Sports Hub. Cerrone Battles here. I'm Joe Murray, Skaz as well. And this final hour has been brought to you by, this hour has been brought to you by Valvoline Instant Oil Change. Enjoy quick and convenient vehicle maintenance this month. Visit NewEnglandOilChange.com. You can save 15% off your next drive through oil change at Valvoline Instant Oil Change. I do want to get into the philosophy and take a look to Game 6 as well. You guys, I see you on hold. We'll get to you coming up next. I'm Joe Murray. You're listening to 98.5 The Sports Hub.
More Joe Murray coming up on the Sports Hub.
26 points, 8 rebounds, 12 assists, 34 points by Derek White. Peyton Pritchard, 17 off the bench. They'll play in New York on Friday night. Right now, Minnesota leads Golden State 70-54 in the third quarter, looking to eliminate the Warriors while Steph Curry sits and watches. Panthers tonight, they get the win over the Leafs, and Leafs fans were not happy, which I'm sure can give you some enjoyment. They trailed the series 3-2 now after their 6-1 loss, no score between Edmonton and Vegas. Edmonton looking to close out the Golden Knights. And the Red Sox, well, they lost again. Headlines are brought to you by Safety Insurance, providing comprehensive coverage for your auto, home, and business. Ask your independent agent about safety. I'm Joe Murray.
New England plays here.
Down the right side, there's a separation. Touchdown pass. Yes. Perfect dime from Drake May.
98.5, the Sports Hub.
Hart out there with Bridges, Robinson, McBride, and Anunoby. Josh Hart, bounce pass for Anunoby against Derek White. Anunoby muscles his way in, blocked again by Cornet. He saves it from going out of bounds to Hauser. Luke Cornet having the game of his life with the season on the line. Jaylen Brown, pump fake on Hart. Throws back to Sam Hauser, moves it right side, Derek White. Up fakes, turns the corner, drives, hands to Cornet. Plenty of time in the shot clock, shovels back to Hauser, enter back to Cornet. Two-hand slam, and Luke Cornet is not going to let the title defend.
I got a question I've been marinating about to pop in the old air fryer for you. So let's take some calls first. Let's talk to Paul in New Hampshire. Hey, Paul.
Hey, guys, I want to compare this title defense to the last one. 2009, no KG, no Leon Poe. We had that Bulls series that was great, almost beat Orlando, but there was never a feeling like, oh, they could still win it all. This is different. There's nothing about the teams remaining that make me think, oh, they can't do this. Nothing about the Knicks, the Pacers, the Wolves, OKC. Denver is that one team but in that image of embarrassing the Knicks is more than enough to motivate this team. So get your David Robinson high tops on. This is going 7.
All right, Paul. Well, let's talk it out. Can the Celtics win 3? Well, how do I phrase this question?
Just 2. Can they win 2 in a row against the Knicks?
It would be 3 altogether.
Mm-hmm.
Can they do that? Can they win 3 in a row?
They can. They have the ability to. I think they left them room. It's like he said, he doesn't fear that the rest of the teams left. I understand what he's saying, but the difference is you left yourself no wiggle room. You can't have a bad quarter the rest of the way. Not in this series. You got to figure out a way to reset things. You get out of this and you play Indiana. Okay, you roll the ball out. Let's see what happens. But you're in a tough spot because you can't lose another game in the series. They put their backs up against the wall. Do they have the ability? Absolutely they do. They've been up huge in every single game this series and every single game they've played since October. It's a pattern. If you see somebody doing this to you for 9 months or whatever it is, yeah, it's a pattern there. They just have to figure out a way to hold on to these games in the second half. But I understand what he's saying. But when you talk about a team, the Thunder is still left. That's a good basketball team. It's a balanced team.
Yeah.
You need to be full strength to beat a team like that. Mm-hmm. And Jokic is the only reason that series isn't even over yet because he's getting no help whatsoever.
I think they're gonna have to play like they did tonight.
Yeah.
Just team basketball. Find the open guy,
defend.
I mean, listen.
Yeah.
You and I have sat here and literally said it's defense. It has I'll give you the second half rating going into it was 135. So that means just if they give up 135 points from the way they play in the second half, and their offensive rating was 90.
Yeah.
Woof.
The Celtics, they clamped them down in the second half. I'm looking here. This is the third quarter, and I just highlighted Brunson, Hart, and Towns. They're top 3 scorers. And I'm even throw Bridges in there. All 4 of them combined. They were 4 for 7. This is their top 4 guys. Their offensive guys were 4 for 7 in the third quarter. 4 for 17, excuse me. 4 for 17. They were just terrible in the third quarter. They couldn't get anything going. They couldn't make any shots. Bridges, 1 shot. He made 1 shot in the third quarter after carrying this team, the first couple games, late second half, kind of making runs. He was on a run on his own in game 2 or whatever it was and stole that one. Karl-Anthony Towns, third quarter today, 0 for 3. Josh Hart, third quarter today. He was 2 for 6. He had 2 threes, missed everything else. And Jaylen Brunson, Celtics started attacking him, put him in foul trouble. What do you know? He didn't have legs to make a shot. He was 1 for 4 in the third quarter. See how when you make them play defense, you make them move their feet, and you clamp down, you double team, force the ball out of their hands. All of a sudden, they struggle to shoot the ball. What they shoot in the last game in the second half? 67%?
Yep.
That wasn't even close to that tonight because everything was contested. Everything was challenged. Even with them getting offensive rebounds, there was nothing they can do. And that's something you can repeat. That's something that can carry. Luke Cornet, 7 blocks, or Derek White getting almost 40 points. We don't know if that'll carry. One thing that you can bring with you on the road, they've done it all season on the road, is play defense because it's nothing but effort, your size, athletic ability, being locked in together as a team. That can carry to New York, and you just have to bring your offense with you. But you can play defense in New York and keep the score low, and that'll always give you a chance to win in the NBA.
All right, Jim's in Florida. Jim?
Yeah, I'm excited about this series. And listen, the thing that I wanted to see tonight more than anything else, I wanted the Celtics to prove that home court advantage means something to them. I feel like this series really didn't start until Game 4 because that's what the Knicks did. That third quarter, that second half that they had, that New York crowd, that they meant something. They made a difference in that game. And Cerrone, you made a good point earlier. Is that going to change now? Both teams have established that we can win at home, and playing at home means something. And are they going to go back Game 6? And are the Knicks going to now get tight? And if they do, and then it goes to a Game 7, that's what I'm excited about. And I think these two teams without Tatum, I think they're pretty even. The Celtics came into this kind of like the bully, and it's like the bully got punched in the nose, and maybe the bully needed to be punched in the nose, and now that the Celtics took that punch in the nose, they're like, well, we're still going to beat you though.
Yeah, we're still here. There's two things, Cerrone, I wanted to mention. One regarding Tatum, who didn't play, but he talked about how he wanted home court to mean something this year, and he, after some of these long road trips, the first game back they blew it. It happened in that Magic series. But in another quote was Porzingis saying, "Hey, maybe the pressure's on them now." Yep. So I know that Porzingis isn't contributing. I know that Tatum's done, but
he's right, though.
Those things, though, can they resonate? Like, could they see it but couldn't perform it? Like, I'm manifesting it right now.
Well, I tell you what's going to happen. Somebody in New York's going to be tight. One of those players, one of those rotational guys, the guys that play a lot, somebody's going to be tight. I don't know who it's going to be. Karl-Anthony Towns has played his whole career in Minnesota. This is the most pressure he's probably ever going to feel on a basketball court in his career, without a doubt. If this game is close, if they're not up 20, is he going to play well? I don't know. Pressure is on. I think he's a New York kid. He's playing for the Knicks, Madison Square Garden. You had a 3-1 lead. The other team's best player goes down with an Achilles injury. You're beating your chest. All of a sudden now everybody's staring at you. The Celtics are playing with house money. It's like, well, no one expects us to win. We're back here. They're playing free and they're playing loose. Somebody is going to be tight. Is it going to be one of the Villanova guys? Bridges didn't have it tonight. They kind of figured him out and he fell back to reality. Is Josh Hart going to give you 20 again? Are the Knicks going to get 40 free throws again? These are things that happened tonight and it didn't work for them. Who's going to be tight? Is Mitchell Robinson going to go 6 of 6 from the foul line when everybody's screaming for him to make one because the game is tight in the fourth quarter? All these things. Is Thibodeau a guy who's known for collapsing in big playoff moments and not making the right decisions and panicking and leaving guys on the court too long. Somebody's going to get tight. The question is, will the Celtics be able to take advantage of the mistakes by the Knicks? Are they going to turn it over? Bad coaching calls, guys not hitting shots, guys missing free throws, turnovers. The Celtics are going to have to capitalize on whatever Knick that comes out and is not ready for the moment of playing in a game this important, the most important game probably for the Knicks probably since the 90s. Are the Celtics going to be able to take advantage of the pressure that the Knicks are going to be under in that game? And that's going to be the key to the whole thing.
All right, we'll take a quick break. Cerrone's here. I'm Joe Murray. You're listening to 98.5 The Sports Hub.
Don't go anywhere. There's more Joe Murray.
Some people only have selective hearing on this radio station. You know, they only hear what they think they want to hear. This is not a Jason Tatum discussion. What I am about to say has nothing to do with Jason Tatum. This has to do with the philosophy that is criticized. Can they plug anybody in this philosophy that can shoot and be a top 3-4 team in the Eastern Conference? Do you think they can?
You said can they? Well, without Tatum,
can they just lean on the philosophy with to have a team that probably could be a 3 or 4 seed in the East?
Yes.
Yeah, and I'm not even putting like Jaylen Brown or even I'm just using their philosophy with the amount of shots. If they had 8 shooters, how good would they
be? They would be a top 4 team in the Eastern Conference. I don't think that would be that difficult. I mean, look at the rest of the teams in the Eastern Conference. Nobody looked at the Cleveland Cavs and that roster and said, man, that's a 66-win team. There's nothing about the Cavs roster that said they can win 66 games, but yet they were at the number 1 seed. The Indiana Pacers are a prime example. They have a point guard who scores 15, 16, maybe 18 a game. I'll give him 18 a game. But it could be higher, but he's not a big scorer. They have a point guard and a team with the philosophy of, their head coach who likes to get up and down, likes to play with tempo. They're one of the highest scoring teams in the NBA going back to the 80s because they play with pace no matter who's on the floor. And they just run the floor. They don't have a loaded roster. It's Nembhard. It's Siakam, Miles Turner. It's not a loaded roster, but their style allows them to be a top 4 team in the Eastern Conference. If you take the Celtics, you got the Cavs, you got the Celtics, you got the Pacers. Probably, I think they were a 4th seed this year. And then after that, you got the Bucks, who Giannis is probably going to be gone. He wants to be gone. And then everything else around is just kind of falling apart. Orlando could be there if they're 100%. That's a team definitely I can see pushing for the top 4. But the Celtics, even without Tatum for next season or most of next season, whatever it's going to be, I think are still a top 4 team. But you have to figure out a way to get a little younger in your front court, get a little more better play in your front court. And I think that'd be the key to them to playing. Because look, Tatum is the difference, like a lot of superstars. You're a good team. You can be a good team. You can be slightly better than okay. Jason Tatum's the kind of guy that puts you in the conversation for championship teams. He's that type. He's a first-team All-NBA player and has been for a while now. He's that level of player. You can win games here or there, but is it sustainable? What happens when they figure you out or realize you some things you just can't do? Tatum is the kind of guy that you really can't game plan for because he can beat any defense, really. So, yeah, everybody needs that guy. Those are championship-level guys. But what they got now, yeah, you could be a top 4 team in the East to come. I see a lot of people today questioning if they can make the play-in. I'm like, well, what are you talking the play-in? It was a team made the play-in with 37 wins. They can win 37 games with the roster they have now without Jason Tatum. They can make the playoffs without JT.
All right, let's talk to Will. He's on his way home. What's up, Will?
Hey, how you guys doing tonight?
Yo.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Yeah, I was just driving home from the game. I was sitting next to the Celtics bench tonight. I'm fortunate enough to get to sit there a lot, and I'll say Jaylen was more vocal on the sidelines than I've ever seen him before, and the guys really responded well to it. And I just think this version of the C's, the way they were moving the ball around tonight, the tempo they played with, this might be exactly what we needed to turn the tide because the Knicks were not prepared for it. And if we are to move on, I don't think the Pacers were prepared for it either. Obviously, you want Tatum out there, but it wasn't working with him going off and us losing.
I don't think it has anything to do with Jason Tatum. I think it has to do with Joe Mazzulla making adjustments and playing defense.
Yeah, there's no guy on the team that has a better connection with Luke Cornet than Jason Tatum. And it was there for 82 games. If Jason Tatum had a chance to play with Luke Cornet for 20-plus minutes the way he was playing tonight, the alley-oops would have been endless. He didn't have that option. He had the 40-point game because they were basically just standing in the corner, standing around watching him. But Tatum, through most of the series, wasn't really forcing the issue. He was playing in control. He was good enough to get you up 20 in every single game he played in. He was good enough to get you leads in every single game. He just didn't have the supporting cast or the balance of the shot making they had tonight. They shot high percentages across the board. They got to the foul line. Derek White got to the foul line. Jaylen Brown shot incredibly high percentage in this game, something he didn't do in not a single game in the series. He played under control. He didn't turn the ball over. He had 6 turnover games in the series. He had 2 tonight. Like mentioned Cornet. Al Horford in the last game only took 2 shots. He wasn't aggressive. Holiday wasn't aggressive. And it all wasn't because Tatum was up. Tatum's been out there with these guys for a couple years now. They just weren't aggressive and they weren't hitting their shots. They, at one point, they were 25 out of 100 from 3.
Dude, I did the halftime show, and I said, wow, Drew Holiday only has 2 shots for the whole first half.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, I was like, I jinxed it, but he ended up 5 for 8 with 14 points.
Yeah. That's all the things they did right tonight. They didn't do collectively as a team. Jason Tatum isn't the reason Porzingis was on the court looking terrible. Jason Tatum wasn't the reason that Al Horford couldn't hit a shot, shooting 35% or whatever it was. He wasn't the reason that these guys couldn't make wide open shots that he was getting because he was being doubled and tripled. He was finding the open man for an insane amount of wide open shots and they couldn't hit him. The fact that they made them tonight isn't because, well, see, Tatum's not there. See what happens? Look what happens. Okay, let's see what it looks like when the Knicks make the adjustment. And now all of a sudden they play Jaylen Brown straight up and say, hey, we're not sagging off him. We're not going to let these guys get open threes because the adjustments are coming. But if they did the things they did tonight, they would have won these games with Jason Tatum. You just didn't get that kind of balance, production, attack. The guards never attacked Jalen Brunson in none of the games Jason Tatum played in. That's not Tatum's fault that they didn't do that. They settled for threes. I mentioned the last show. I don't remember. I can't do the numbers now. But at one point, Derek White had like 46 3-point attempts to 12 twos. That's not Jason Tatum's fault that he's not attacking the rim. Derek White decided to take those shots as opposed to being aggressive. And they have to repeat that effort tonight. But if they would have did it again when Jason Tatum was out there, the series probably went over. And who knows if he's limping off the court or not because the series has probably been dead before he got hurt.
Just wanted to bring up that, philosophy talk that people haven't liked. It looked pretty good tonight with anybody in there. Let's talk to Tim. He's in Kentucky. Hey, Tim.
Yes.
Hi.
I'm here.
How are you? You're on the air, sir.
Hello, Mr. JoJo.
Hello, Mr. Tim Tim.
I was just wondering, I love Philly cheesesteaks, by the way. With Tatum being out, that gives the other teams, the other players to facilitate what's going on. And I appreciate that because that makes it, everybody have to drive to the hoop and make everything happen.
Yeah.
Finally, they were driving to the hoop.
Yeah.
And that's what was going on.
What do you eat in Kentucky? What do you like out there?
In Kentucky?
Yeah, what's the food of choice? Chicken?
The food of choice out here?
Yeah, like what's the go-to?
They actually have a really good Rhode Island pizza out here.
Wow, a Rhode Island pizza. What's a Rhode Island pizza?
Well, it's a little thicker. It's not quite New York style.
Yeah.
But when you pick it up, though, it stands up on its own, bro.
I wonder if it smells like Woonsocket. Sorry, Cerrone. He said I don't know where he was going with that.
Yeah, I don't know.
I saw you backed away like Homer Simpson in there.
Yeah, I was waiting to see what he was going to say. That's funny. Hey, but I mean, look, again, you're going to get a lot of that for the next 2 days. Unfortunately, look how much better they play. They took more threes than they did in the last 2 games tonight. If I'm not mistaken, I think they took 40 in games 3 and 4 or something like that. They took 49 tonight, and everybody's acting like, they took 49 layups. Like, no, they still took a majority of their shots with threes. They went in. That's the difference. They went in. They made the shots. They shot at a high percentage, just like the game they won with Jason Tatum when they shot 50% from the three-point line. But they only took 43s that time. But they still played the same way. The difference was a few guys, the guys who had the matchups in the third quarter, went to the basket. Same thing that happened in the last game they won in New York. The Knicks made a little run in the third quarter. Mazzulla calls a timeout. Next thing you know, you get Tatum a layup on the break. You get Brown a push shot in the paint. You get Holiday a shot in the paint. All of a sudden now it opens back up. They pick their spots when to do it. Tonight, the big difference was they went at Jalen Brunson. They went at Hart. They got those guys in foul trouble. But this is how the Celtics play. They still took a ton of threes. They just made them, and it was a little more spread out. Derek White took a ton of threes tonight. But, I mean, it's when they go in, everybody, oh, look at the way they play now. It's like, no, they just made the open shots, whereas they was missing them early on in the season. And they played good defense. That's the key. And Tatum defensively wasn't a problem at all, and he was the best rebounder on the court for both teams. So we can't use this game as a bash Tatum or look how much better they are than Jason Tatum. No, this is just how much better they are than the Knicks if they play the games they're supposed to play.
And when the coach, coaches too.
Exactly.
And he did. Feel free to call in with your favorite steak and cheese as well, because some guy wanted to tell
Kentucky
me
pizza.
I know in Rhode Island pizza in Kentucky. I never have thought.
It's a little thick.
Yeah, more thick than a New York style is what I got out of that one.
Hello, Mr. JoJo.
Hello, Mr. Tim Tim.
I was just wondering, I love Philly cheesesteaks, by the way.
He likes Philly cheesesteaks in Kentucky with Rhode Island pizza that's not as thick as New York.
Wow. That guy was in different area codes, huh?
I'm in San Diego.
Oh, my God. What a gumshoe that guy was. All right. We got to go to break. We got another half hour to go here. Hey, what dynasty almost ended tonight or did end tonight and didn't? I want to get into that one coming up here on the other side. 98.5 The Sports Hub.
Essential Sports Hub headline presented by Celsius Energy Drinks.
Celtics will play a game 6. They won. Now the series moves back to New York. The Celtics were the best team on the road in the NBA this year. right back here on 98.5 The Sports Hub. All right, Cerrone, let's go to the calls. Cerrone Battle's here. Skaz as well. Taking your calls. That's what we do here. Take calls. Robert's in San Diego. Robert.
Hey, I always call you Joe. I really appreciate it. Thank you for having me on your show. Yeah, I thought they played really good, and they didn't panic. I thought, oh, boy, this is going to turn. And they're down like a couple points, and they really have. If they do this, I think if they can win Friday night, they'll win Game 7, no doubt.
So he's calling it a Game 7 win. I wanted to get into Game 6s real quick. This is the biggest Game 6 since that Miami game a couple of years ago on the putback from Derek White, right?
Yeah.
They lost that one. Well, they won that one on the road.
They won that game, yeah.
But they blew it, and the final shot was from Marcus Smart. But White followed up with it. So this is, they got to play better than that night, that's for sure.
Yeah, I mean, and the one thing, they lost that series. Jason Tatum got hurt again. Similar situation. He gets hurt in the first quarter, and you're like, all right, it's a Game 7, though. You're at home. We got everybody else here, and Jaylen Brown had one of his worst playoff games ever in that situation, that moment. That's what made everybody doubt what was going to happen, what could happen tonight, because he didn't respond well to that. I think he learned from that. He over-dribbled. He tried to do too much, and he turned the ball over 10 times, no left hand, all that stuff, 8 times, whatever it was. But I think tonight he was really conservative with the ball. He didn't take a ton of shots. Only took 17 tonight. Under control, only 2 turnovers, and was the difference. I think this could be a situation similar to, I'm going to go back. Was it last? It might have been last year, before last, excuse me. They were in a situation like this playing the Sixers, I think. They had to win Game 6 in Philadelphia. Jason Tatum has an incredible fourth quarter, just goes off. It's like 5 threes or something like that in the fourth quarter, and then comes home for Game 7 and drops 50 on Embiid. They don't need a performance like that, but they need to go on the road and dig in their heels and win in a tough environment. They won Game 6 in Philadelphia with James Harden and Embiid. Now you got to go into New York and win Game 6 with Brunson and whoever decides to come along with them. And they have an opportunity to do it. They can do it. I think they're still a better team. I think they're a deeper team than the Knicks. They have more versatility. They can play inside. They can shoot the 3. They can play in the mid. They can get to the line. They can defend. And they're playing without the pressure. So I think they can win this and force a Game 7. Now, when things are equally even Game 7, all bets are off. We've seen this team struggle at home, but I think they have a good chance to win this game on Friday night.
Mike's in Brooklyn. Mike?
Yeah, something I didn't hear you guys talking about is KP seems like he's out of it and he's just not himself. I think next game, Sam Hauser should be playing more minutes, especially it seems like he's getting back to himself, and I think that maybe they can't necessarily do exactly what they did tonight, but having him have more minutes and that should also help the team out.
Yeah, I worry about the Hauser hunt. He's not the greatest defender, and if he has the ankle injury, they might hunt him. But who knows? Yeah. Would that slow him down?
He was still limping again tonight.
Yeah, he listen, I thought he did his job. Came in, knocked down shots, helped out. That's all I expect out of him.
Yeah, I tell you one thing. He mentioned they might not be able to do what they did tonight. If they scored 20 less points than they did tonight, they still win the game. But because the Knicks, this 102 points from the Knicks, this is what they've been doing every single game this series. What you saw from the Knicks offense tonight is what you've seen this entire series. This is who they are offensively. That 70%, 67% in the second half, that's an anomaly. That's not who they've been. Brunson's been a great fourth quarter player. They've been a good fourth quarter team. They kind of hang around, but they don't shoot 67% in the half. That was the anomaly. But other than that, between that 90 and 100, this is where they've been the whole series. You can still keep them around it, even at home. You can keep them to 100 points. It's up to you to reach that. I put that number a few games ago. If you can reach 110, 105, 110, you can beat this team. And you do it without turning the ball over, and you got to be able to get to the foul line and put pressure on them in this series. And I think they can do those things. There's a lot of things they've done tonight that they've been doing all series. They just have to be able to continue doing it for 48 minutes. But they can carry over a lot of the things they did tonight because they've been doing it to this team since October.
All right. Our next caller has been stirring up stuff in our chat tonight. His name is TT. You're on the air, TT. Hello.
Hello. It's TT, and it's really Tyler. But yeah. I wanted to talk about the conversation from last week about the multiple Twitter account thing. Like, you seemed like you didn't really get it or whatever. And I just wanted to say, I have 5 Reddit accounts, and they're all for different reasons. Am I on the air?
Yeah, you are.
Oh, okay. I couldn't hear it. All right. So, one is my first original main account, and
okay. The Celtics just won. Do you have a take?
Oh, well, yeah, but I mean,
but you're now hijacking the show with your Reddit takes.
Well, I wasn't trying to hijack the show.
So what are we doing here?
Because I didn't. Oh, so here's the thing that I mentioned to the phone guy. I tried to get through last 2 Fridays ago to give you this take, and I couldn't get through.
Oh wow!
Because they just kept shutting me off. But I mean,
I can see why he was shut off, Joe.
I didn't do that.
That was wasted precious moments of my life I'll never get back.
Does anybody understand what happened?
I have no idea. I screened the call, and I have no idea what that was.
Last night you weren't here. Some guy called in and said that he tweeted me at 2 different Twitter accounts, and I questioned him on having multiple accounts.
Yeah, I'm going to say if you have 6 Reddit accounts, that you should probably be on a watch list of some sorts, but that's just me.
Did he have a take?
Who are you hiding from?
Yeah. We take calls on the show, don't we? We had a guy.
I wanted to hear his take. I wanted to hear what he had to say.
I did too. I don't think Skaz wanted to give him any more time.
I think our audience went through enough with the first 30 seconds of that call.
Tyler, how about this? Are we on together this Sunday, Cerrone? I don't even know anymore.
No, I'm not sure.
Well, anyways, I'll be on Sunday from 10 to 2, Tyler. TT Tyler. And you call in, and we'll talk about Reddit. We'll do it all. We'll roll out the red carpet just for you. We'll call it the TT segment.
In the meantime, put your take in the chat so we can see.
Topher, hello, sir.
I can't follow this dude again. Come on.
No, you got to save us.
Oh my Lord. I'm okay. I'm not dying back here or anything. Cerrone, how you doing, buddy? Oh my God.
I'm doing all right.
The takes you've been dropping, dude. Bro, the takes you've been dropping tonight have been fantastic.
Well, Topher, your take was you were upset with Celtics fans for saying it's over.
I was, and I'm getting sick of it. Every single time I have to look, and the Celtics are down. A man goes down. Something else happens. You get every single Celtic fan that goes, "Oh, you know something? I'm done." They drink their beer. They go home. They cry. And then you know something? They come back and do something as magical as what I said last night. If they grind, they show their heart, they show everything they need, they put it all on the court, what happens? Beautiful. Beautiful. And Cornet, oh my God, I swear to God, my neighbors are mad at me right now. But I'm okay with that because, look, they lasted another game. They're going on to another game in New York. And where are the guys who sat there going, oh, man, oh, yeah, I'm done with the Celtics? Yeah, they're probably sitting there cheering them on, but hey, the night before, they were sick of them.
Yeah.
It happens all the time.
I know. Thanks, Topher.
To his point, and to what you said earlier, Joe, we should not have heard Knicks fans at all tonight. I'm a little upset with the fans that were in the building that were allowing Knicks fans to freely move about the Garden and be loud and be louder than you like this is some random game in January. The Knicks have done nothing in my lifetime that's worthy of them, somebody bowing down to them. You should have been louder than them from the beginning. Feed off your team. Let the team feed off your energy and be loud. Now, of course, if they force this thing to a game 7, the place is going to be crazy. And the same fans that were giving their tickets away tonight would be right there. Like, I will always believe.
I bleed green.
Be right there. That's it. Bleed green. Green teamers.
Mm-hmm.
But it's, yeah, you guys were kind of weak tonight. Knicks fan. Knicks were making free throws. Mitchell Robinson making free throws and the place got loud. That shouldn't happen. Y'all should have been booing that dude and borderline throwing stuff at him for when he was up there shooting free throws. And he's getting cheers from Knicks fans. But I do think the Knicks fans in New York, they're going to start the game loud. But if that thing, I've said it all show, if it's tight, they're going to get quiet. Spike Lee going to be holding his hat. He's going to be looking. They're going to be – because the Knicks fans have seen this movie before. There's no team that's had more heartbreak in the NBA than the Knicks. I mean, I always compare them. I said the Dallas Cowboys of the NBA. When as soon as you expect greatness to happen, something always goes against them. Whatever you think can happen will happen. And for them to blow a 3-1 lead to a team from Boston would be so New York Knick. It'd be unbelievable. And I got a good chuckle at with them down 20, and they show Patrick Ewing and Walt Frazier sitting up in the balcony tonight. I love that. But Celtics have to put pressure on this team so the fans in New York could get quiet. The pressure will start to mount. And they'll start to think about what will happen if we lose this game and got to take that quick flight back to Boston for Game 7. And I think you can put pressure on this team if you do what you're supposed to do early and often in this game. And everybody needs to match Cornet's energy too. I love the way he was barking and dunking and being loud. Everybody needs to bring that energy come Friday night.
All right, I got the betting line for Friday night. I also got the opening line for the Patriots where the schedule came out today.
Oh, I might need to hear that.
Schedule day.
You're gonna have to give me that before we get off, Joe.
We'll wrap it up on the other side. 98.5 The Sports Hub.
More Joe Murray coming up on the Sports Hub.
right, back here on 98.5 The Sports Hub. Let me give you some betting odds, Cerrone.
Okay.
Game 6, New York is -2.5 favorites.
Mm-hmm.
To me, that's a low line.
Yeah.
It was 5 tonight for the Celtics. I think 2.5's low. If there is money coming in on New York, which there was tonight, that will get bumped to 3.5, something to that degree.
Mm-hmm.
Which I feel like 4.5 is probably the right number. That's beside the point. To win the series, the Celtics are plus 250. That's the highest it's been.
Yeah.
To win the Eastern Conference, they're plus 475. And to win the championship, they're plus 1,800.
Tempting.
They're long shots.
Yeah.
You know what, though? Win the series at 250 is interesting.
Yeah, it is.
But I would rather bet the underdog tomorrow night at plus 115, or Friday night 115, 120, because that's the value. And then you'll have the double, that 250 will be gone in game 7.
Yeah, it'll change drastically.
So that's one thing. And then the Patriots' schedule came out.
Mm-hmm.
They will open the season versus the Vegas Raiders. So Gino, Pete, Ashton Genty, and all the former Raiders that played with Josh McDaniel. The Patriots right now, according to DraftKings, 3.5, opened at 2.5.
What's the over/under for the season?
8.5.
Oh, that's tempting.
I lean under.
Yeah, it's tempting.
Yeah, and they have the 3 national games, so they'll play a Thursday versus the Jets, Monday Night Football tentatively with the Giants, and then they'll play Buffalo at Buffalo on a Sunday.
I'm surprised. Jets and Giants. It's like there's no marquee quarterback or nothing there. There's nothing to sell.
All they got is New York and Boston, right?
That's all. Yeah, I guess that's all they're selling there. But I mean, the Celtics schedule, the Patriots schedule, they don't play a bunch of superstar quarterbacks, as opposed to last year until the end. I mean, they got the Lamar and Josh Allen and Burrow, I think with 3 games in a row or something like that. But you get the chance you could end up with Cam Ward and Shedeur Sanders. You can see all those guys, Michael Penix, but you're not going to see the veteran Bryce Young. You're not going to see all the veteran dominant quarterbacks like you've seen in the past few years. And you're going to get 3 of them, 3 of the best, but you're not going to get the full slate of quarterbacks. So, I mean, I could see that the 8 wins is tempting. It's tempting.
We got a minute to go. Less than a minute. The Warriors done tonight? Is this it?
Every time I think they are, I look up and they cut it to 7 or something like that. But it's 4 minutes left. They're down
the arrow over
11. Yeah, it looks like it might be it for this team, man. It might be time to break that up.